The White House says the security clearance review for a former top staffer was still ongoing when he resigned last week.
The White House Personnel Security Office, staffed by career officials, received information last year and what they considered to be the final background investigation report in November. But they had not made a final recommendation for adjudication to the White House because the process was still ongoing when Rob Porter resigned.
But FBI Director Christopher Wray says the FBI had closed its investigation of White House Staff Secretary Rob Porter in January. Porter resigned last week amid domestic violence accusations from his ex-wives. Vince Coglianese, editorial director at The Daily Caller and host of Mornings on the Mall here in Washington, D.C. on WMAL Radio, joins us now. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a mess to unravel.
Yes.
On Capitol Hill, you have the FBI director saying one thing. At the White House, at the podium, you have Sarah Sanders saying a completely different thing about this Rob Porter mess. What is the truth?
Well, we'd all like to know. And I think what's happened here is the White House has tried to make a case that it's consistent on the basis of the fact that this got bottlenecked inside an Office of Personnel Security, which is, again, it's attached to the White House. There's a little bit of distance between, say, the internal operation of the White House and the Office of Personnel Security. But now that's where these questions go. And the reason this story has extended as long as it has, day by day by day, in a Trump administration where most stories don't last more than 24 hours.
Unless you're Anthony Scaramucci.
That's right.
It lasts about a week.
That's
and then
right.
It's over.
Then you've got a situation where new information keeps coming out. And at the center of this are questions, of course, of what the White House knew, but also the press is rabid for this. This is an opportunity for them, I think, to take on a Trump White House that they don't really like, and I think they see a vulnerability here that they can exploit.
Well, and I think that vulnerability is John Kelly, Chief of Staff, who the media is no longer saluting, and there are calls for his resignation. Is his job in jeopardy? Is he the linchpin to all of this?
Well, he's certainly the target. This is, at this point, I think John Kelly has become the mark here because, again, he's the chief of staff. He's in charge of the staff. And it's on him on whether or not to move somebody like this out. And the press is insisting they have questions about what he knew and when he knew it, which is the two questions we always hear in every scandal. I think the key here, what makes John Kelly so different, is that unlike everybody else in Washington, a lot of people trust John Kelly. They see him as a man of honor and a man with a moral code that actually guides his day-to-day operations. So it will be interesting to see him actually at some point step up to a microphone and offer clear answers about what the timeline was on something like this and why he came to the conclusions he did.
When I've talked to him, he's always seemed to me as a straight shooter. Now, in January 2017, Senator Chuck Schumer warned Donald Trump. He said, if you take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday to making your life miserable, getting back at you. Is the FBI trying to get back at the administration for public criticism that the Trump administration launched against it?
I mean, first of all, it's scary to think that the FBI or anybody in any of these intelligence communities be wasting their time with a political bout. I mean, the key here is if everything has been done right, and the leader of the free world, and specifically of the very agencies who are in this tit for tat, if there's a concern, just be transparent with the public. Did you conduct your operations in a good and wholesome way? Then what's there to hide? Just reveal it in public. And that's why during all of these back and forths, I don't want to see memos. I don't want to see interpretations of what went down. I want to see the underlying evidence. I think I err on the side of transparency. The more information out that the public can see and assess for itself, the better. And there should be no reason for agencies of the federal government, specifically who work for the president, to attack him.
Makes sense. Don't attack your boss. I've said that here before. Before we go, does the public care about all this? I mean, we're so into it because we're inside the Beltway and we follow all of this. Do they care? Well,
I think they're sick and tired of it either way. If the whole point of a Russian disinformation campaign was to put the United States in chaos internally, mission accomplished, because that's what we're doing. All we're doing is debating this, and I think people want to see it come to a resolution, and this government owes it to its public to do that.
Vince Coglianese, editorial director at The Daily Caller. Thank you so much for joining us.